Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot, and welcome to our full moon reading. And this is a special full moon, as we have been talking about. This full moon it's in Pisces. It's the second full moon of the month, so that makes it a blue moon. And the moon is actually much closer to the earth right now than usual, which makes it seem bigger and brighter. And that's something we call a supermoon. So the cool thing about this is we've had a supermoon. It's been closer for the last couple cycles. So the July full moon, the first August full moon, which was on the first of the month, and they're in Aquarius. And now this one here in Pisces, they've all been supermoons. And so this is a blue supermoon, which is a very unique situation. And I double checked it. Yes, it is going to be 37 years before we see this combination again. So it's the brightest moon this year. It's the closest of the supermoons, and conditions should be ready for that. But again, it's like I said, the only blue supermoon in 37 years. So this is, or for the next 37 years. So this is pretty cool. Let's take a look at the energy that's happening around it. And so it will be, as usual, a general reading. And it's a general reading for this collective. So as I often say, it's not going to resonate with everybody, and really it shouldn't. But if it does resonate with you, you may want to take a look around. See if there are maybe some other messages that you'll want to take a look at. There may be some other ones that are out there for you, because these are all very much connected. So we're going to start by looking at the energetic and emotional backdrop that's happening just kind of around the time of the moon. So usually we're looking at a specific day, but today we're looking at around the time of this moon. And I want to go ahead and get a couple of cards out. So we've got, go with the flow card. We've got the Five of Wands that has come out already for us. And I feel like we need to get one more card. There it is. Let's see. All right, we've got the Justice card. That is making things right. Temperance card in there for, I've got to leave this in here in case it wants to come out later, but it is an honorable mention. And it's around balance, moving into a place of balance, which we also see reflected here in the scales on the Justice card. So there's a movement toward balance, but it's also a movement toward making things right. It's like right karma. In some decks that in one deck in particular I've got that's popping up into mind, where the Justice card is the karma card, and this is how it feels in this one. But with this Five of Wands, it's got the sense of kind of going with the flow. And I feel like this is something that you've already set into motion as far as the healing that you've been doing, because you have, with this moon, this is, and I said this yesterday, it's that sense of having set yourself up for a change, and now it's time for that change. It's time to put that change into action, and it is something that kind of starts to set things right for you. Let's see what else. Excuse me. I don't know what, all of a sudden it seems like it's difficult for me to talk. I promise it has not been challenging, too challenging to talk up until this moment. So we have the Four of Wands here in the reverse. There was an interesting kind of feeling coming off of this Four of Wands as it came up. There's something where you have a stability that you're letting go of. Like you're letting go of something, and you keep getting the advice to let go of something, but you're actually doing it in this energy. That's... all right, and we've got Ace of Swords that has come up. Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to see the cards turn over and be able to find them in this deck, but these really just want to pop out and be found. So we've got the Ace of Swords in the reverse. There is a truth that is not yet being, it's like it's going to come into being, or it's going to show up and really coalesce for you during the course of the energy around this full moon, which, realize that can be a little bit preceding it. So it may already be starting to make itself evident, and it kind of goes to a few minutes or a few days after. Sorry about the noise in the background there. Had another alarm go off. Anyway, there is definitely that sense of something coming into view. So it's like this kind of moves into this direction, and all of a sudden you have a truth that you're kind of staring right into. But at this point, it's one that you may feel like it's been there, but you just haven't been registering it for some reason. There is something, and it could just be that you've been focused on other things, which is completely legitimate and just how it works sometimes. But you're going to notice that there's a need for this truth to be, it becomes kind of center stage. You have the Five of Cups and the Moon in the reverse again. So Five of Cups in the reverse is a great energy because it's you not just seeing something that is regretful and unhappy, which is kind of that energy of the Five of Cups when it's in the upright. It's focus on that negative about a situation. It's a focus on something that's not going well, despite the fact that there are some good potential. There's some good potential still within that energy. Here in the reverse, it sees you recognizing that potential for something good. And here in the reverse, the Moon card, we saw this yesterday, and it sounds like maybe it would be a bad thing, but it's really not. It's mystery coming out. It's light that's shining on that. So it's kind of illuminating that new truth, just the edges of it. Now, there is something that you need to work through here. So you've got the Devil card that's coming out here in the upright and the Chariot in the reverse. So it's something that kind of stops you in your tracks. It's a lesson you thought had already been learned, and it's something you thought you had already let go of. I get the sense with this energy, you're going to make short work of it, but it's just realizing that the issue is still there kind of causes you to stop short and just say, you're a little bit surprised when you come across this issue, is what it feels like to me. So you've got the King of Pentacles here. You're, like I said, you're going to make short work of this. This is not something that takes a long time, but you are going to pass up some good advice on your way to solving it. So just realize this. One of the benefits of seeing this is that you have the now you have kind of a heads up so that you can say, maybe I'll want to avail myself of that wisdom. This is not, here's what's going to happen. This is, where is the energy heading? So you have the opportunity then to say, all right, I'm expecting somebody to provide a little bit of insight that might be helpful. But this is you really taking care of the situation. The only way you could take care of it better is if you're able to see and process that wisdom when you run across it. Actually, this has got a special shine to it as well, kind of like that Four of Wands. Things are breaking up so that they can fall down in a new place, and you've got something that's very much your own happiness. So this quest that you've been on to truly understand what it is that makes you happy and makes everything work well in your life, you're gonna get to a place where you're able to get a glimpse of it, and it makes it a little bit easier for you to kind of move forward and move toward it. I mean, there's a lot of, I'm trying to remove this glare on the Hierophant here, but it doesn't seem to want to be removed, even though I can get the Nine of Cups to kind of work. All right, so very shiny cards. So yes, with the Nine of Cups though, this is about you finding or that glimpse, seeing that glimpse of what you've been looking for. And remember, this is maybe not completely different from what you've experienced in the past or what you've sought out. In some cases, it's really just kind of a nuanced difference. So let's look to see what you can expect around this moon energy. And so it's going to be a couple days out, couple days after. But what can you expect with regard to this? All right, we've got a feeling of something you wish would go a little bit differently, or that you wish had. You're looking back on something with a sense of almost disappointment and seeing something that you wish had gone a little bit differently. But that's a feeling that doesn't last either. There's another energy that's playing into things with you right now. So if this is around your soulmate situation, this is that third party, something kind of coming out or having to do with that third party that is impacting not just your life, but something that kind of shifts around you as well. This Empress energy is the saving grace, though, because you're going to come out on top. You're going to come out just fine. Your heart rate never really even needs to rise, even though this is definitely something that it's like it's energy that's working against you and hitting you at a time when you're already kind of not in the mood for it, but you do great with it. So I wouldn't be too worried about this. I am not worried on your behalf when I feel this energy. I feel like you're going to take it in stride. I understand that I might get some kind of intense emails over the next few days to find out what it was that happened there. But I get the sense that you're gonna do just fine with it. But I think that third party energy, that there's an external energy. It depends. Everybody's gonna have kind of a different situation, but there's something that happens with that. You've got a Three of Pentacles. Not everything is going your way, but again, this is something that I don't think you have to worry about with this Empress energy here. You've got a lot of positivity flowing that it almost, just like I said, makes short work of it. Yeah, you're headed toward happiness. You're headed toward happiness, and I can see this with this glimpse of the wish fulfillment over here. This is not an insignificant thing. This is like a reorientation. This is you moving in a direction that is significant, because it moves you toward it's an inflection point. It's an inflection point that gets you going in a new direction that is incredibly beneficial. It's moving in the direction of that thing that's going to set your soul on fire. You've got the King of Swords that has the ability for you to step back and look at the big picture of a situation. It's allows you to build a little bit of a strategy, allows you to see a little bit more of what's going on in the big picture. And so you're going to be able to move toward this eloquently. It's going to be something that looks almost like you meant to do that. You have the Two of Wands here. There's an impasse that you're working through, and it has to do with that third energy or third party energy. There's an energy that is creating a challenge for you, and this is the essence of that challenge, some kind of bridge that needs to be crossed. I don't get the sense that you give in on something. There's something that is something challenges you here, but it challenges you in a new way. So I don't know if you have to stand up for yourself, or if I feel like it is a little bit like that. You have to stand up for yourself, but you do it in a very balanced way. So where you have this strong Empress energy, you also have good Emperor energy. Both of these energies are fairly well balanced within you. So this is masculine and feminine energy that's fairly balanced within you. And we've seen that in the other readings. So if you've been watching the part that usually is over here, it has to do with you. We've been seeing a lot of positivity and you moving in a good direction, but it's not always easy. This is also there's a lot for you to work through, but you run across these challenges and you just surmount them, it seems, almost with ease. I see this Three of Cups here in the reverse again, though, and this Ten of Cups. So you're able to assess something. This is how it works. So you see something. This is essentially a social threat or a political threat, something like that, coming your direction. It's not a physical threat. I don't get the sense of it being any kind of physical threat. But you see it coming your direction, and based on the kind of the person that you've become and the stability in that feminine and masculine energy, you are able to move forward fairly gracefully, assessing the situation. This is a lesson that you have been learning. So many of you have been coming here for the soulmate readings, and this I'm just gonna say that many of you have made some significant strides in the lesson of what do I do when I run across something that seems like it's too good to be true. This is not necessarily something that seems like it's too good to be true, but it does seem like something that you need to check out a little bit more deeply. And when you get in, you realize this is a bit of a veiled threat, or it's a bit of a real threat politically, socially. There's an impasse. You manage it incredibly well. So I get the sense that whatever this is, you may manage it so well you don't even realize how much of a threat it was. And yet you don't give in. You don't give in on something. I do get the sense that it makes you look back and and do some real thinking. Go in and do a little bit of soul searching. but I don't get the sense that you are ever as threatened by this as you might have been if you had realized the extent of kind of, what was coming at you, what was really being thrown your direction. So we've got the Four of Cups here, Four of Cups in reverse, the Hangman. These aren't not part of the reading. But we've got the Four of Cups in the reverse. So there's something about this disappointment. We've got that Four of Cups here that ends up writing itself after you have this experience. Wow, this is a little bit dramatic. I mean, it ends well, but it's a little bit of drama for you. I mean, this is not something that's just oh, everything goes well and you find some answers to, no, you like work for it here, but I think you don't have to work as hard. You've already done the work. That's the sense that I get here. This is something where you've already done the work. Yep. It's already set into motion. You've done the work. You have set this up so that when you encounter this type of situation, you're going to make short work of it. I don't get the sense that you realize right away what you've done and what has happened, but it is going to dawn on you. So that's going to be generally pretty cool. I think you're going to enjoy realizing that not just the I dodged a bullet and succeeded, but here's what you've actually learned. And oh my goodness, I realize now what I've just done. That's kind of a, it ends up being a big deal. It's very positive. So something big happens for you here, but you may not be able to see it for a little while. Let's get you a little bit of practical advice and just kind of see if there's anything that you need to be doing, focusing on. Just dropped some cards. Okay, let's try again. Yeah, anything that you need to be focusing on as you move through this full moon period. This is a great moon for you to be dropping some ego and coming into your own. This is a very honest and genuine sort of feeling here. Oh, let's see what that was. All right. I had a card fall to the floor, but it fell face down, and I've got one in here, yep, that came over. So here's that Ten of Cups in the reverse. We have that over here. This is the part where you need to look for something that requires a little bit of evaluation and then go slowly, or, be prepared, because there is going to be something in here that's a little bit of a challenge. It looks like, again, you make good short work of it. It's not going to be a challenge that does anything other than show you how far you've come. But it's still a challenge, and you still have to work through it. Let's see what else. Besides, just be aware of it. So we see the Four of Swords. Allow this to heal you, but allow yourself also to see your position in your healing and see why this is as important as it is. So we have the Page of Cups in the reverse. If you are, okay, so this is not a don't talk to people card, but this is a be aware that there may be some snakes in the grass. There may be some folks that don't necessarily wish you well. And I get that with this energy up here. I also don't think it's going to be beneficial to be, paranoid and think that everybody's out to get you. But there is if you feel like you are tempted to play it a little close to the vest, not say something, take the opportunity to not say it if you feel like if you're being kind of, you got that gut feeling like maybe you shouldn't say it. It isn't necessarily that you're dealing with a person that is not trustworthy, but they may be somebody that says it to the wrong person, or it comes across wrong. It might not even be anything that they do. It might be that it's the wrong timing, or somebody else is listening in, or whatever. Just whenever you get that feeling, go ahead and don't say the thing. Six of Pentacles in the reverse here. So the threat that you're receiving is something about unfairness. But this is an energy of you really establishing some fairness. And that's what's going to end up winning out. So once again, just kind of watch around you. It's not gonna be beneficial to be paranoid. Don't let yourself get too tied up in something like that. But just realize that there are some forces around you that don't necessarily, something doesn't mean well, but more than that, something doesn't get interpreted properly. The Knight of Swords, oh, and something not getting interpreted properly during a Mercury retrograde, and we are really right in the middle of one of those, is not necessarily a strange thing. You have a Knight of Swords here. You may also be someone who is not interpreting something as it was meant. So you've got the Ace of Pentacles, though, here in the reverse. Something feels like it is no longer available to you that always seemed like it was going to be available, and it feels like a huge setback. But then when you get in there a little bit closer, so it does a little bit of damage. It does cause you, this is where it feels like a huge setback. With the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, there's a little bit of self-doubt that kind of creeps into the picture. But there will be something that comes through that, like, you forget to even feel bad about it. You got to let this happen. You're going to forget to even have the frustrations with this Ace of Wands. That Ace of Wands is that same feeling of that something that wants to set your soul on fire. If you've been watching these readings, you've seen this being popped up for months, and people are finding it. People are finding that thing that's going to set their soul on fire, but it looks a little different for everyone, and the responses are a little different, and the impact is a little bit different, and the uptake. And sometimes I've gotten the messages, hey, I'm into this now, and now it's just something that I do, and I'm so glad I jumped into this because it actually helps me to remember the situation with this soulmate that I've been dealing with, but it also gives me a little bit of separation and a chance to redirect some energy. Well, it does more than that, it turns out, because here it's also going to be something that restores a little bit of confidence in you that I feel like flags here, maybe even as you're dealing with this situation. But I feel like there's a time, and it may not be when this happens, it might be slightly after, but there's a time when your confidence starts to flag a little bit, but then you get turned right back on and put back on a good path. So that's very positive. That's, again, everything that's in here that feels like it's a challenge is a legitimate challenge that you feel catharsis when you get past it. Nothing takes very long. These are my favorite problems, I guess, to have, something that you're going to make short work of, and it's going to, the bang for your problem buck is pretty solid. So here's a card that I saw coming out, but it was wanting to come out in the reverse, and now somehow it's moved around to the upright. It's the Magician card. So here's something that with the Ace of Wands, I was feeling the connection, but I also felt like I wasn't supposed to pull the card out of the deck. And here it is now coming in the upright. These two are very much connected. This is the manifestation energy and the ability to move forward and really build something out of this Ace of Wands energy. So be watching for that. Be watching for something that wants to set your soul on fire, an opportunity. And in some cases, you already know about it, but it's an opportunity within an opportunity. It's something that maybe you even thought was not an opportunity anymore. I get you're really into like boats, but for whatever reason you can't be on a boat anymore, and you get the opportunity to like volunteer at a boat show where you never have to set foot on the water. I don't know, just something that you thought it was gone, but it turns out it's not really gone. You also have a lesson that gets learned here. So you have the Page of Pentacles. This is great. Great energy, because it's a glad energy. It's feeling like something has been accomplished, but this is in combination with all these other energies that you've been having, the Venus retrograde, personal reclamation, reconciliation energy, that everything seems like it was going wrong, but it just snaps right back into place, even though we've had that with the Mercury retrograde energy. It's got an egoless sort of feeling where you're coming into your own and putting some of those changes into action that you've been setting up. So you've tossed it up into the air, and now here's where you hit it. So let's give you an oracle card. Get a little bit closer on messages and see what else wants to come out for you, just kind of as an overarching message around this. Let's see. These are always interesting. Sometimes we have something come out that seems very relevant, and then other times we'll get something that's very different. You know, we'll be reading for a full moon and we'll get an eclipse or something like that. And then other times I've had us get, and if you go back and look at the moon reading, sometimes you'll notice it's exactly the phase that we're in, might be in the right sign. So this one's in Pisces, full moon in Pisces. But we could get any card, any phase. These moon cards, the messages that come with them are usually oddly appropriate. Yeah, so we have the third quarter moon, definitely not the place that we are. Adjustments are required. So I guess, you know, we touched on that a little bit earlier where I said now that you're seeing this, you have the opportunity when you come into this situation to address it a little bit differently. So it doesn't have to surprise you. And you're able to, for example, listen to this advice when it comes. Doesn't necessarily mean you take it, but you at least listen to it and allow it to work its way into your overall perspective, because you are taking a look at the big picture. It is beneficial to get multiple perspectives, even if they don't match your own, and sometimes, especially if they don't match your own. So think about that. But adjustments are going to be required, and they may be partially because of you becoming aware of something that, you know, you thought you were going a certain direction, but something new has come to light. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this moon reading. I'm not going to do an extended on this one, but we're also moving into the month of September coming up here in the next couple of days. So tomorrow I will do a general reading for the month of September, and then we'll follow that up with a soulmate specific reading for the month of September. So we know that sometimes soulmate messages kind of try to come out there a little bit in the midst of either a moon reading or a general month reading, which of course, given that this collective has such a heavy, and we checked as we were kind of coming in and building the collective, but as it's so heavily leveraged in the soulmate series that a lot of times we see those things come up, and that's perfectly fine. But we will also dedicate time to it as we get into the beginning of September. So thank you once again for being here with me, and I look forward to seeing you again in tomorrow's reading.